All right, and once again, we are live for our weekly Sacred Heart live stream from Clovis, New Mexico. It's me, Deacon Eric, as always. And this week we've got our visiting seminarian, Tomas Tanuz. He's,
Hello, everybody.
he's going to visit with us, and we're going to get to know him better. But before we do that, just a couple of announcements. Literally just a couple of announcements, not a lot going on. Let's see. Just remind everybody that we are still registering for religious education for next year at the church office. Just go swing by the office anytime it's open and get that taken care of before this fall. If you need more details, it's in the bulletin. Let's see. Vacation Bible School is going to take place from Monday, June 26th to Friday, June 30th. The registration's over for that, but just to let you know, the masses during that week are going to be at 8:15 instead of the normal scheduled time during the week of VBS. And during that week, we won't have Holy Hour or Adoration. Let's see. Anything else? Just remind everybody else also that we're still having the men's group meeting every Monday at 5:30 at Room 1 in the school. Of course, all men are invited to attend. And I would strongly recommend check that out because I at risk of sounding politic, I don't know. I think men have different spiritual needs than women. I think it's good that men get together and support each other in this way. I mean, as human beings, we all have some of the same problems, but as men, we have some of our own problems, just like women do. And the women have their group that meets, and so the men, we also have a group that gets together. So check it out. Swing by. Even if you don't think you're interested, just go by sometime, and you might be surprised. You might find something there that you were looking for. So that's it for the announcement. So we get to talk with Tomas now. So Tomas, he's our visiting seminarian, going to be here through July, right?
Yes, to the end of July.
And he's from Pecos, born and raised, right?
Yep, born and raised up in the norte, as we say up there. In northern New Mexico, Pecos, New Mexico. Beautiful little town just outside of Santa Fe. With lots of mountains and beautiful river. So like the same river that flows over by Fort Sumner and Santa Rosa and it starts up there in the mountains up in Pecos. So just a little bit of context and geography for those who don't know where Pecos is.
I've been to Pecos. I've been up to the monastery for a men's retreat we had last year, and it is beautiful up there. I do remember though being warned about bears and snakes. Is that's a real thing out there? Wandering bears through town.
That's a nice picnic basket you got there. Yeah, you do have to be careful with bears and any other wild animals. I mean, I think it's just the same around here. As some of the squirrels or like the skunks. You just got to be careful with animals.
Right. You get a little south from here, and rattlesnakes are a big deal. So. Oh shoot! How many years are you got completed? How many years you got left to go?
So I've completed 3 years. So the church has different programs for seminarians. So if if a man already has his bachelor's degree, he will go through a 2 year program. With this 2 year program is known as a pre-theology program. But for myself, who didn't have a bachelor's degree, I have to go complete a regular 4 year undergraduate degree in philosophy. You take all the general ed classes that you would, like your math, your science, your literature and stuff. But you also get packed with philosophy. So I'm about to finish my at this time next year, God willing, and hopefully I will have a bachelor's in philosophy. And then after that, I will go for about 3.5 years for a 3.5 to 4 years for a master's degree in theology. I'm not too sure which one I have to get. They'll tell me. The church usually tells you you're getting an MDiv, you're getting the master's in theology. It's always up to what the bishop wants for each particular seminarian. But
I
I'll
didn't know
have,
that. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
yeah, some guys do the MDiv program, some guys do like the regular theology degree, but they do have to complete a master's degree of that sort that's in compliance with canon law.
Okay.
So so counting everything, I have about 5 years till I'm ordained, more or less.
Okay. So still got a long road ahead, but that's okay. It'll go by fast enough. Just to remind everybody who's tuned in live with us. If you have any questions for Tomas, you can go ahead and post them on whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube. You can comment, and it'll show up on my screen. And if you have a question, we can answer those questions live. Just like I said, remind everybody that option's out there. So Tomas, when did you when did you know you were called to the priesthood? Were you a very young man, or were you already an adult?
Yes,
Or?
I was very young, like even as a little kid, like teachers, they always ask little kids, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And little kids will say, oh, I want to be a fireman like daddy, or I want to be this, I want to be a spaceman. But I actually used to say that since I was very young that I wanted to be a priest. Like it was always there. And when I was a little kid, I'd even go home and a lot of seminarians and priests will say this, but when I was a little kid, I used to pretend that I used to get a little cup and pretend that I was a priest. I've seen cute videos on YouTube of little
Like
kids.
kids, but they play mass.
Yeah,
I
I used to do that. Then I turned it off a little bit in high school. It was still there. I was still serving at the church to the best of my ability, but I kind of turned it off for a little bit, and I went, to college. I was going at Northern New Mexico College. It's a small college up in Northern New Mexico, up in Española. So I was originally going to be a radiation control technician. I wanted to work at Los Alamos, but then, there was a period where, like I'm pretty sure every young guy goes through this. I was fresh out of high school, 18, 19 years old, that first taste of nobody can tell me what to do. Woohoo! I can sleep all I want. I can do whatever I want. Eat, do all I want, but that eventually catches up to you. And like I ended up failing a couple of my classes, and after that it says, well, it's time to buckle down and get serious. So I buckled down, got serious, and got my grades back up, and I was on my way for a path. I changed my major. I got into a path for environmental science. I wanted to work for like the Forest Service or the Game and Fish or some other state or federal agency. I liked being outdoors, but that call was still there. So I went to a discernment retreat, and like Father Michael was still working at the vocations office, and they came together and they said, give it a year, find a spiritual director, and after that, come back to us. So I did that. I met with the spiritual director. The spiritual director helped get me kind of on the path of thinking about it, got me reading some good books. I met with him regularly. Then I went to another discernment retreat. And, this was the point where I was at a complete road fork. I said, okay, Lord, everything's lined up for me to go to seminary, but, I'm attracted to this other path. Like, I'm going to fill out my application. If you want me to go to seminary, I'll go to seminary, but if not, like have them deny the application or have something come up, and I'll go down this other path, and I'll live happily ever after the end. But I was accepted in 2020, and it's been an awesome ride, and I love that how the Lord has guided me.
That reminds me of my formation diaconate. Yeah, sometimes you do that. You in your prayers, you be like, so, Lord, if you don't want me to be a deacon, I'm sure you will stop me somehow. And those, of course, nothing ever. There was no big road signs or anything like that. Actually, if anything, I think the Lord won't get in your way. I think the enemy will. You know what I mean? He'll get in your head somehow. But that's another discussion topic. But yeah, that's great. So yeah, no, wonderful story. I think that's great. So yep, you've decided this is it. This is what you're going to do, and you're enjoying it so far. I'm assuming. And,
Oh yes, I've it keeps getting better and better. So like if there's anyways watching who's ever who's like discerning or thinking about priesthood, like I just have one message about seminary. Don't be afraid to take that leap. Like it is scary. I remember how scary it was for me, but you'll never regret it. And if the Lord leads you to another path, He'll lead you to another path. But a lot of the guys who do leave seminary in the with the blessing of the church, they never regret it because they're happy that they gave the Lord a chance. So that's my message. If there's anybody who's discerning, go ahead and give it a try.
That's very true. And I think all of us that, like, when we were in deacon formation, we talk amongst ourselves and stuff. And it's like, even if and we would all say, even if it didn't work out at the end, if for some reason, either myself or the church discerned that, we never regretted a moment that we spent in formation, because the things we learned and the things we got to do, and the spiritual development alone, while you're in formation, is lifelong. You know what I mean? To learn how to pray more and more often, and develop those habits, but also to have a deeper understanding, of Christ's teachings and things like that. Like I said, you can never call it wasted time, and it can never be wasted time. So I agree with you with that wholeheartedly. That even if for some reason a person were to start the process and then leave, sometime later, it's never wasted time. It's so. I agree with you. If anybody even thinks that this is something they should look into, go for it, because it's never going to be wasted time. So. Let's see. I'm trying to think. How you like Clovis so far?
I really enjoy it. It's of course, it's a lot different from where I grew up, but I'm glad that I got the opportunity to see this part of the diocese and get to know the people well. I just want to say thank you to all of you. You've been more than hospitable to me. It's amazing. The people of God are amazing. So thank you, Clovis, for your generosity. So yeah, I really like Clovis, and I really like all the work that I've been doing, even these short few weeks. It's been, the other day, it's just like I got out of, when I did my evening prayer, and there was just like such a happiness. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I can't explain it, but this is helping me to affirm my vocation, seeing, like seeing the parish work, and seeing how a priest works for the Lord and how a parish works for the people of God. Because like one trap we get into there in seminary, because we're so focused on our classwork, is like, sheesh, man, what are we doing? Like
Right.
why am I reading? Like somebody from a couple thousand years ago, like Aristotle. But then when you get into ministry, you say, oh, that's why we're learning all this stuff, because learning all this stuff helps our ministry be even more fruitful.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Once again, I agree. I can't help but agree with you with that, because sometimes in the studies, it I wouldn't call it drudgery, but it kind of weighs a little bit, and then. But once you get back to the people and you get to do anything practical, and then you're like, you get rekindled, like, oh yeah, I remember why I'm doing this. As anytime you can spend time at the parish doing anything to help out at all, it'll refire you up and send you back into the back to your studies with it, refreshed. So I understand that completely. So, all right, Tomas. Well, we appreciate you coming on this week. I'm glad we got this opportunity for everybody to get to know you a little better. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to share with everybody.
No, I guess I'll share like a little bit of my hobbies, just because like I think a lot of people they see seminarian, or they see a priest, and all they see is like somebody that's just like some kind of medieval monk.
Right. That's
Oh, and just goes for mass, and then goes back into the cloister
right.
and prays.
Right.
But we are human beings. We love we have hobbies. I enjoy any outdoor activity. Whether that's fishing. Some hiking. I'm not a big avid hiker, but fishing, cruising, picnicking, and then one of my other bigger hobbies is, I love movies. I'm a huge movie geek.
Right on.
I love comedy movies. I love Disney movies, and I love old westerns. I grew up watching those with my dad, so I'm a huge John Wayne fan.
Okay, that's good to know. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to think. What's the best movie you think you've seen recently that impressed you?
Recently, that's a bit one. Well, I guess I'll give you two movies that I really like recently. There was one. It was Puss in Boots, the Last Wish.
I haven't seen it yet, but I plan to.
It's a
Yeah.
really good one. Like the I won't give up too much, but the premise is like all cats have 9 lives, and that includes good old Puss in Boots, and like he's dealing with the fact that this is his last life. Like what is my legacy, and it's like a big journey of him accepting death, which there's a little bit of Catholic elements in there because you see like there's I won't give up too much, but there's like some characters that show like the true meaning of family. There's like an adoptive family, but that shows like the true meaning of family and sticking together, and then also like just accepting death as like an old friend. Like as Puss in Boots eventually did. He says like I can't escape you, but eventually I'm gonna have to accept you. So like that's a pretty cool thing of us. Like death is scary for all of us, but as Christians, we remember that death is not the end, but only the beginning of something better with eternal life with Christ. And then another one is it's a new movie. It's Flaming Hot. It's the story about the guy who made like hot Cheetos.
Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
really
I've
cool
seen it.
because like myself as like as a Chicano, like seeing a lot of like Chicano culture within that movie because the original guy, he was a janitor from California who was Mexican American Chicano, and it showed like his struggles of dealing with some gang violence and bouncing up from like that kind of culture into becoming a hardworking person and father. So, and there's some elements in there where like as they're pitching their idea, they pray to God. So there's also a little bit of Christian elements in there. So that's what I like about that
That's cool.
movie.
Very good. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. 2 movie reviews from Tomas. So I'm going to tell everybody, as just like Father did, if you see Tomas around the parish, be nice to him. And if you get a chance, feed him. And that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna sign off and go have some pizza. So, appreciate everybody for watching this week. Once again, thank you, Tomas, for coming on.
And thank you
with
for
us.
having me, and thank you again, Clovis.
And yeah, we're gonna call it a week. So, everybody, God bless, be safe, and we will see you.